Kelly, for readers who may not be familiar, can you start by telling us a bit about Odeko? What do you do, and what type of customers do you serve?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself officially for you so you know where I fit in the organization. My name is Kelly Simons. I'm the Director of Enterprise Systems at Odeko. So anything that doesn't have the Odeko name on it, like an ordering portal or an e-com site, all falls to me to do. I'm the de facto owner. So Odeko originally started as a disruptor in the supply chain area for mostly targeting mom and pops, coffee shops, independent chains, cafes, that kind of thing. We developed a portal that was homegrown and custom built to allow them to place orders in a seamless manner. One of the things that happens in the world is if you're an independent company, you have to talk with 5, 6, 8 vendors a day, right? That's not efficient. You want to focus on running your business. And also, you don't always get the best prices because you're buying a case of oat milk instead of like allowing us to buy it, you get the better discount. Mm-hmm. So the goal was to kind of consolidate and give a one-stop shop point for these people that own these businesses to place orders and to get benefits of more bulk buying power, right? And that was the original genesis of our business. Originally started in New York, and that's what we still call our home. And we have an office, a mothership I call it, in New York because it's just a small drop station. Our company is digital focused, and we're remote first on our corporate level. And so that's how we interact with our customers.
Perfect. What was happening in your business or tech stack that made you decide it was time to implement NetSuite?
So, it predates me being there, but research, questioning, that kind of thing. At one point in our business, they were on the typical small basic business model of accounting software. I'm sure we all know which one of those could be because it's very common. And there was an inflection point where they realized that they needed something more powerful in order to lay the foundation for growth. And that was one of the things that they were looking for was a system that was reasonably priced, fit the needs of the market, and could grow as the business grew. That was one of the main focuses on it. Now, there was a talk at the one time of building their own ERP. Evidently, I heard that there were people that looked at people like had lost their mind because NetSuite has spent 27 years crafting an ERP and it still grows every day. So that was kind of the impetus behind it, laying a platform that they could use to consolidate and talk one language, inventory, ordering, accounting, finance, typical things that you would do.
Perfect. When did you first begin your NetSuite journey, and what were the top goals you were hoping to achieve? And by you, I know now that it's more of a Odeko, not a...
Yeah. So whenever you're in a rapid growth model for a startup business, people come on and as you make an acquisition, let's say, they don't speak the same language, they don't have the same information, the systems are different. So having a system that is the source of truth, that allows you to pump things in and out of it, back and forth. The goals were to be able to unify, have a common point to go get information, and to consolidate financials, and so our shareholders were happy. We could say, hey, look, here's the information. So that's some of the main things that we did.
Great. Can you walk us through your NetSuite setup? Which models and tools are most crucial
Sure.
for your daily operations?
Sure. So we are a one world instance for NetSuite. We did have multiple subsidiaries. We recently collapsed some of them just because we kind of restructured a little bit. So it's very valuable to us to be able to use that to utilize if we need to have different subsidiaries, and if we do a different new product, which we just recently launched. Sometimes we may want to put it as a different business unit. So if we needed to jettison it, God forbid, you could easily, right? We regularly, on a daily basis, are using inventory management or operations tools for ordering and fulfillment and all of the normal things to get orders through and out the door to our customers. There's a lot of financial tracking that goes along with that. Being able to use the traditional models, fixed assets, which was done all on a spreadsheet, which is now internally in the system. It allows us to be a little bit more agile, to pivot faster, and to see things quicker. We also have leveraged the extensibility of the system. By going with partners. So Celigo, Brex, those kind of things. For anything that we needed to be a little bit more sophisticated than some of the standard models might be, right? So that's what we do on a daily basis. It's our lifeblood now.
Now you're attached at the hip with NetSuite, right?
Well, I've always been attached to the hip with NetSuite. That'll be what I do until I retire in 10 years. So.
How has NetSuite changed the way your finance or operations teams work on a day-to-day?
So before, if we had bought a company or did anything like that, we'd have to go to 3 or 4 systems, pull data, try to match the data, try to align the data to make sure it works, right? Nowadays, when we acquire a company using our repetitive playbook, we groom the data, put it in the system so it all matches. They go to our chart of accounts. They go to our structure for customers, things like that. And so in a given day, people are more agile and more efficient and are able to process things more quickly. A good tidbit here is we use Celigo to take our e-com business into NetSuite, all over ordering. That was a manual process a year ago. It took 2 people 90 hours a week just to process manual e-com orders. And now we've grown the business about 40% year over year with the same amount of people because we've automated. So all those kind of efficiencies that we gain from being able to quickly pull financials and metrics and things are huge in our company.
Where do you go? How have you customized or extended NetSuite to fit the unique needs of a business like yours?
So we have an engineering team internally, and they focus primarily on our portal and our front-end processes, right? And some of the integration stuff like microservices into NetSuite. But we have some workflows that we do to add pieces of data. We have some custom scripting. We built a workflow that forces invoices to print twice a day. Right, it creates the invoices twice a day, so somebody doesn't have to manually monitor those. We've used custom fields and rules and forms and records, you name it, we've done it. We haven't gone too far afield and crazy, right? But we are using that, and then of course, again, as mentioned, we leverage the extensibility from the partner network to help us if we need to extend beyond. Right.
All right. Do you know how the implementation went originally?
So, from my understanding, the initial implementation went pretty well. Again, you're typically dealing with people who've never used NetSuite before, so decisions are made that maybe 5 years down the road probably need to be reviewed and refined. I don't think it went really badly, but of course, it was a very skeletal implementation, so it was like a very small segment. I use the analogy, it was like the iceberg. They got the tip, but there was all underneath that wasn't being used yet. And so I don't think there was a lot of bumps. I will say there was some clarity that was needed about what NetSuite could do. And they were also, keep in mind, doing this around the time when a lot of the pandemic was coming around, and so the world was different. We all know the world in that time period was different, right? So yeah.
So it was kind of more of a gradual integration?
Yeah, so they did the first part, which is more financials and some of the order managing and that kind of process. But as time has passed, and especially as I've joined as well, I'm not saying I'm perfect or the be-all end-all, but we've moved it more and more into the center and started to use more and more of the layers of the product.
Perfect. All right, so NetSuite has been making big moves with AI this year. Has Odeko started using any of NetSuite's AI-driven tools or automation?
So some of them are like really new, hot off the press. The one that I use the most right now that I love is in this NetSuite knowledge management area. There is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of articles and how-tos, right? And in the times past, you'd have to go type in what you want. It would give you a list of 200 articles. You'd have to click into them. Then you'd go into a rabbit hole where you click into another article that was on another article, was on another article, right? The new language that they use where I can human speak and type in a prompt and it returns me the top things that it might be. and says, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, this is your best option, has been game changing for me, because it takes me what would have taken hours is like seconds to find an answer usually. And I love the fact one of them the other day actually said, I'm sorry, you can't do that in NetSuite. It just said you can't. And I was like, okay, that's good to know. That's nice to know. I'd rather you tell me I can't. I guess, and I'm excited about some of the things coming. I'm also equally a little bit nervous about NetSuite Next and how much more. But we're slowly but surely starting to adopt some of those principles in NetSuite.
Now, you mentioned NetSuite Next. Is that the thing, like, out of all the AI advancement, the coming soon, is that the one that you're kind of looking forward to most, or is there another AI tool that you're kind of...
Oh, no, so I'm really looking forward to NetSuite Next. Mm-hmm. But again, cautiously optimistic. Because in my mind, I see a positive, but I also know that in an adoption curve, if you move too quickly with some users, they are paralyzed. And I can see a prompt for a controller and they're going to be fine, but a warehouse clerk may struggle a little bit more with a prompt, right? Now, we all know in the AI world that the world will change, and a BA might not be a true BA like we're used to now, or a developer even might not be a true developer. They may leverage an AI tool to do their job, and then their responsibility is to check the work, right? So I think that's where I'm most excited about. I'm excited to see things come in. One of the things that I know is coming that I think is going to be awesome is being able to tell it I want a workflow. I can type in what I want, and it will give me basically what needs to be done, or tell it to go do it itself. Another thing that I'm really excited about that I just learned about here is the autonomous close process. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, we've gotten our close down to pretty tight. We're about 3 to 5 days, and when I first started, it was close to 30 for a monthly close, which was insane to me. But the autonomous close process, that it basically goes and acts on your behalf in the back, puts things up that you need to review, and you hit yes. It just, I'm in awe. You know what I mean? It's going to be a great, it's going to be a very big game changer in our company.
Now you talked about adoption and having users adopt it. Now, we've all seen the old person, not necessarily old, the person who loves the older systems in the back, doing everything pen and paper and using an abacus. How do you address those types of users?
So first of all, one thing that is really hard for me to kind of do is a lot of the people I know of that are in like warehouse jobs and things like that, they equate AI to job loss. So the first thing you have to do is retool that narrative of it's not a job loss, it's your job is evolving, right? So that's always a new thing. I think change management is one of the hardest things to do. And there are people that I know of that sometimes I have to get on with them and I'm like, okay, let's walk through this. Okay, now tell me what you don't understand, right? So it's a little bit of hand-holding with them, which I don't mind. I would rather them ask and we spend time than them to assume and something just paralyze them, right? There is the theory of the adoption curve, which I don't know if you're familiar with. It's like it's a 20-60-20. There are those people, like, for instance, that bought the iPhone. They were standing in line when the first iPhone came out. Then there's that middle group that waits to see what happens with the first phone, and then they buy it. And then there's the group that you have to wrap a rope around their feet and drag them behind you to get them to buy said thing. It's the same thing with this. There are going to be some people that they're not going to transcend into AI very well, and it's because there's a fear. And it's how do you address them where they are? How do you meet them where they're at? Because my mother would be good at AI because that's just her. My stepdad, no. He'll be completely lost. So that's the same thing with people we work with.
All right, final question. What's next for Odeko, and how do you see your partnership with NetSuite evolving over the next few years?
So, we are now an omni-channel company. We have a service line, we have an e-com line, we have a regular local delivery line. We just launched a new project that's a software SaaS product that we're rolling out. Those are going to continue just to accelerate. This year we bought 5 companies. So there's that. In 2026, our focus is on organic change with some other additional acquisitions possibly. Now, I don't know for sure. It's always one of those things that's up and end. We are going to continue to grow. That's the goal, is to continue to become a larger company, more and more market share, that kind of thing, with the ultimate goal at some point of pre-IPO. And our partnership with NetSuite is just my platform that's going to continue to be my base to help me enable that. Even whenever they come to me sometimes and say, hey, I want to go do blah, 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 and I'm like, NetSuite can do that. But I still want to talk to someone else. Okay, fine. But in the back of my mind, NetSuite's still going to be the one to do that. You know what I mean? But sometimes you have to do that. So NetSuite's still going to be our partner. It's going to be there for a while. I don't see us ever moving away from it in the next 5 years.